Hi, everybody. It's T. Okay, now today we're going to talk about know your worth. Do you do psychic readings? I do psychic readings. So I've been there, done that, know a couple things. First of all, let's talk about the readings you do. Are you doing free readings? Are you doing readings on your website? Maybe you're doing readings on Keen, Live Person, something like that. Maybe just coworkers, friends, family. But you do readings. Any type of reading, tarot reading, psychic reading, angel reading, any type of reading. Now, do you know your worth? Now, here's a very hard lesson that I learned when I came out the psychic closet. When I very first came out, I thought, you know, I'm going to charge very, very little because I want people to buy my readings. I want to be able for people to afford it. But here's the problem. The lower I had my readings, the less people valued the information. The more I put the readings, the less people bought. So what do you do? Is there a middle ground? Is there something you can do to combat both ends? Well, first of all, I learned you don't do free readings. And I'd like to say I'm in my attic. I usually do my videos at night, and this is why. Because there's so much light that comes in through like my red curtains that you cannot see anything. And I've yet to still get this webcam right the way I want it. So ignore all this over here. Okay, now getting back to free, and there's a lot of pollen, and I have my window open. So if you hear like cars and trains, I do apologize. Okay, so knowing your worth. First, you have to think of what are you worth? What is the intuitive information that you put out there worth? If you're a newbie and you're really unsure of what you say, do you start low? Do you come high because you feel like that your information is pretty dead on most of the time and you want people to be able to see your worth in that? So what do you do? Okay, let's get back to the free readings. I used to do free readings all the time. Blog Talk Radio, Facebook, come on. We've all done the Blog Talk free readings, all right? Here's the problem. When you get on Blog Talk Radio, you have people that constantly jump around on other Blog Talk Radio stations. So they go to your station for a free reading. If they don't like what they hear, they'll go to another station, and they'll continue to bounce to all these different stations all day, even all week long, until they hear what they want. Why? Because it's free. They don't have to pay for anything. So the information they receive isn't valuable. So until they hear what they want, they'll just keep bouncing. Now, some people will go on Blog Talk Radio because it's your show and they really want to hear what you have to say and see if they can get a reading from you. But are they really valuing the information that they get? And can you really give them a really good reading in about 1 to 2 minutes? So here's the thing. When you give somebody a reading, even a future reading, and this is for other people too, when you get a reading from a psychic and it's a future reading, they can only tell you what they see for you at that moment that you're calling in, at that moment that they're talking to you. That doesn't mean that tomorrow you're going to wake up and decide to do something completely different. Either because you didn't like what the reading had in store for your future, so you want to change it, or maybe you just wake up and decide, today I'm going to do things different. Well, that reading you just had not the night before or the day before may not still apply. Why? Because you've changed your whole mindset. You're going to do something completely different than you normally would do, and something different than you would have otherwise done yesterday. So that's why it's different. So can psychics really predict 100% of future readings? No. Who could? Honestly, and it would be crazy to think that they could. Can they be right most of the time? Yes. Can you get a really good reading? Yes. And if you're in a place in your life where your life is pretty much on track and there's really not going to be any drastic changes coming, then your reading is probably going to be pretty dead on. And that's going to be yay. But if you're at an up and down position and you're kind of like on your path, off your path, up in the air, down, down in the dumps and you're kind of all over the place, then it can change, and it can constantly change. Maybe you get a reading because you're with somebody you really don't care about. And maybe in that reading we say somebody else is coming, but that other person has to leave first. Maybe you don't do that. Maybe you decide that you don't want to break up with that other person until the other one comes in. And maybe the reading specifically stated that until you let go of this person, the other person won't come in. So then when the other person don't come in, you're like, you know what? You were wrong. The other person didn't come in. But did you do what the reading said to do? No. So you can only blame yourself. But 90% of the time, they'll turn around and blame the psychic. They'll blame the reader because they felt like it wasn't right, because they didn't do what was seen. So there's so many different reasons why psychic readings don't work out for a lot of people. But again, let's get back to the free readings. When you give a free reading, the information isn't really valued like it would be if they paid for it. Okay, for instance, say you go to the market and they're handing out free samples of cheese. You don't really care for cheese, but you take it because it's free. You might throw it in the trash. You might not even really care about it. You might put it in your purse and think, I might eat it later. You didn't really value the fact that you got a piece of cheese, a nice piece of cheese. You just didn't care for it, or maybe didn't even want it, so you didn't even really value it when you got it. So they didn't really make a sale on their cheese, and you still took their sample. Okay, now what if you had to walk up there and you were having a dinner party and you had to pay for that cheese, and that cheese was $40, and this is the cheese you're serving? You're going to make sure that you pay attention to what that cheese goes good with, what it tastes great with, what maybe wine to get with it, how to serve it. You're going to pay attention, and you're more likely to do what you're supposed to do in those instructions because you paid for that cheese. So, as a psychic reader, you have to look at that. You have to look at the information that you give people has an intuitive value. Now, y'all know I'm going to say something crazy because that's me. It irks me to no end when people say, why do you charge for your God-given gift? Let me put it like that. And I won't go into the whole God thing because we don't got time for that. But let me tell you something. What about artists? What about people who paint and make art? In your perception, isn't that a God-given gift that they have the ability to do that? But yet they charge? What is that about, right? What about people who make jewelry? Would you expect a jeweler to make you a diamond necklace and then walk in and not pay for it because his creativity and his craftsmanship is a God-given gift, so he should just give it to you? What about writers? Do you think they should write books and just give them to you because their God-given gift is to write? Now think about how that sounds. So when you give up your job and you've got kids to take care of and bills to take care of, and this is your gift and this is your career, you need to charge for it. You need to not undercharge, but you don't need to overcharge either. So you have to think, what is my worth? What all did I have to give up to do this? How strong is my intuitive ability? How accurate am I usually? And then go off of that. Do people really, really like my readings? Can I charge a little bit more? Am I new and people really don't know who I am, so I'll charge a little bit less, but not too little, but a little bit less? When you put no value, we're back to the free readings. When you put no value on your intuitive gift, people do not put value on the information that you give them. That's just true. Now, there are a select few that will appreciate and take value into free reads, but the majority of them will go around and get them from anybody and not really appreciate them. I posted this video yesterday, put it on my Facebook wall. Paid to boost it. I don't really believe in boosting Facebook ads. I think it's ridiculous how Facebook will not let people see your wonderful posts without having to pay for them. I think it's ridiculous. But you have to use Facebook, and it is a business. So, of course, again, like I said, there's value in that. So you pay it. Okay, but don't say it's free and then it's not. There's a difference between you have readings that cost money and then they're free. Don't say it and then they're not. So anyway, and I'm okay to pay for it. I'm okay to pay for it. I had some girl. Here we go. I had some girl. This is what I woke up to today. Been sick all week. Got out a video yesterday, getting out a video today. This girl got a post on my video post. Had nothing to do with anything. Talking about how accurate are your readings, because you told me this would happen and it didn't. Number one, I don't know who you are. Number two, I have never even sold you a reading, so I don't even know who you are. Number three, if you did get a reading from me and it was from a free Facebook post, then it was probably months and months ago, and you obviously didn't do what I said to do, because again, what I was saying earlier, sometimes there's steps involved to achieving things, and if you don't do those steps, those things probably won't get achieved. So, but again, here we go. No value in the free reads. You do a free read, you come out your way to help somebody, and no value, no nothing. So, again, why don't do the free reads no more? Why don't do the blog talk radio shows anymore? Because you tend to get the same people calling over and over and over again wanting those free reads. So you have to finally put a value on yourself, and you have to value the information that you give somebody, and what you feel you're worth is what you should charge. And again, that's just a thought by me. Bye.